Hey everyone, I'm going with a wild mixed media look today. So I started with this paper with those green and aqua tones on it, and it went so nicely with the Colour Blast modelling paste that we got in the kit. This is the Envy colour. So I've just used my lead pencil to mark out the corners of the photo, and that way I'm just going to put the modelling paste coming out from it so that it's not covering over that middle spot and wasting my colour paste. So I'm just having a bit of a diagonal look, starting with that, and that's where it's all going to come together. So I just keep putting the photo over top, not smushing it down, but just hovering it top, just to make sure I've got enough of the colour paste where I want it. And when I feel that I've got enough, which is sometimes hard to stop yourself, you can get carried away and want all the colour in the world, but we just got to be mindful as we're putting things together, make it look or feel a bit random, but also not have too much or not enough. So I knew by the time I added some layers and embellishments and things like that, that not as much would stick out as is sticking out right now. But so keep that in mind if you are thinking about doing something similar, because sometimes you end up covering up all your mixed media. So I just grabbed this cheesecloth out of my stash. It's green, lovely light green colour, and I just cut it apart into it, and I was going to layer just apart from the top to the bottom of the photo. And then I thought if I make it smaller and then rip off some of the threads so that it was a distressed look, it would look a bit nicer just having a little bit from the top and a little bit from the bottom, not on either sides of them. So that's what I'm just working on now. You can just be as rough as you want, as random and as, crazy as you want adding this. It's one of those, it's just to give that texture and another pop and layer of that colour. So there's lots of layers, texture and dimension going on in this layout. So this one I've got some tulle, nice blue aqua kind of colour. It's interesting colour really. But I thought I would just have a full mat around the photo, and this is where I start to go with it and lining it up and having a play with my photo, and realise I cut it down because I'm still at this point thinking that's what I want. But then I go to put it on and I think, well, what if I just put some little strips? So I stretch out the tulle, so if you've cut it in a certain angle, the fabric is a bit stretchy, and I'm just going to add some strands to the top and the bottom, ripping some more off this bit. And I still had that bit to the left there because I still was thinking my photo will be matted. But I don't end up doing that. I end up with enough on these little sections to be what I want. And this is where you just got to keep, you don't have to, but when I'm working on this kind of a layout, I like to hover my photo over as much as I can, just so I have an idea of how it's coming together and how it's going to look, because when you're doing a mixed media background and adding layers and textures and stuff, it can sometimes look abstract without a photo to reference it and make sure that it's all coming together well. Now we got these doilies in the August kit, so that was something that was, the microphone fell. That was something I wanted to include because it's a nice little texture layer as well, but also doesn't distract or anything. Nice, the white means that it's not contrasting what's going on. Originally I was thinking I would do a blue-green kind of background, but I get to the point where I try to add something blue later on, and I realize there's just no blue in the layers, so it doesn't work. So I'm just using the glue here just to stick down that tulle. Now the tulle and a wet glue won't make it stick to normal paper, but because I have that cheesecloth there, it was sticking well to that. Well, at least I think that's why it stuck, because normally I can't get them to stick. So I've just pulled out some mist. This is one of the Kaiser Craft ones with some shimmer in it, and I am just doing some little fine ink splatters just around the edge of the colour paste, over the colour paste as well, just to give that dimension and colour. And like I said, I keep just adding a few layers so that I can work out that background to be the way I want it. Now this is the reason why I started this layout. I had this old necklace with these green beads, and I thought, oh, that's the right green for this collection, this kit. So I thought, oh, I should really make one of those layouts with mixed media where they've got the beads in, and I've always wanted to do but never felt that I could do it. So instead I finally get to do it. So I'm just using my gel medium here. I've just spurted some out, and I'm just using my paintbrush, adding some of the gel medium and then adding some of the beads and smushing them on. Because the gel medium will clear. It will be clear once it's dry. Doesn't matter where you put the gel medium. Bye, Ollie. Have a good day. Bye. So that's not the problem. It's just making sure that they're stuck. So the more glue you put on the beads, the better it's obviously going to stick. Again, referencing with my photo, but I'm just putting it here, there and everywhere. I don't want it in all the spots because I want to be able to see the different things going on, but I do want it to be there as a layer of added goodness in the background of the photo, the layout. It was really fun. It's something I should, hopefully I'll try again. But this paper, this 12 by 12 paper was like the perfect shade and the perfect base point because it already had that mixed media look to it, and then I'm adding more mixed media to it, which then makes it just really pop, and I love the way it stands out. I think I'm going to display this layout rather than putting it in my album. So it's just a random photo of my son, my youngest, being a bit crazy, flicking his hair around, I think, and it's just, it's one of those everyday moments, no biggie, but it's nice to capture and to have in a fun way. So now I've got a darker, more aqua green, and I'm just using a pipette, so like a syringe, like an eyedropper, and I'm just adding some bigger splatters. And what I do is, once I've added them, and then I do add a little bit of the tiny ones, but as I'm drying it with my heat gun, because I was getting a bit impatient, I needed to dry it, I moved the paper around, so some of them have gone in lines and stuff, so you can see here now that it's dry how that looks. And I just did that by tilting the paper and using the heat gun to blow it around. So I'm just using the enamel dots, this packet that I've got here, that's what we got in the August kit, so of course the colours go well. And then I had these ones that had the nice aqua and darker greeny blue going on. So just adding them in a few spots, just as a bit of pop of interest. Some of them I've put in a spot where I know the photo will cover some of them so that they're hanging out and whatnot. So going to the embellishments now. So pull out my little box here that I've got some wood veneer, some DIY embellishments, and that embellishment there that I've stuck just laid there at the moment. I did try wood veneer and some of the acrylic dots, but it was just the wrong shade and it just wasn't working for me, and I thought I'd go with this little banner and see how we went. Now I'm pulling out the Project Life cards that I added from my stash to the kit, and we had these envelopes that we got in the kit. So if you want to check out the unboxing video, that's up on my channel. And what we did this month, all the DT added 4 items from our stash. So things like, I added Project Life cards, I had DIY embellishments, some wood veneer, and must have been something else, but go and check out that video and find out. So I've pulled out that blue flare up the top there, and I've cut it so that it's on its plastic, and I thought I would be able to use it somehow. So I've got it sitting there waiting, and I've picked out some of these flowers from the thickers because they go so nicely, just a little pop of interest, and I stick them there, and then I end up piling a few things on my hand, so some of the stickers and whatnot, to see where I want it when I start putting it together. Here are the cutter parts that we got. I haven't used too many of them, but that's okay because I will use them, that's for sure. It just hasn't been the right ones for the kits so far. So here are the stickers that we got, the office hours, pink paisley, pink fresh stickers, and pulled a couple out here, and then we've got the embellishments. So I had no idea, I thought that little embellishment down the side there would be my title, but I do change it in a moment. So there's an embellishment with a nice little notebook ripped edge, and so I'm going to cut that down and have that sticking out there. And then I find the perfect thing for this layout, this photo, and it was just meant to be. This has the best phrase ever, and it just works perfectly with colour and and size and scale. Size and scale, I think that's the same thing. The scale of the layout. So here we go. I've got a few things out, and I'm going to work on and make sure it all comes together the way I want it to, or the way I like it, because I don't know what I want it to come together at yet. I'm just putting things together. So I'm going to layer that circle photo there, the circle embellishment there as my title, and I'm going to use this label here underneath as a pop of interest and green underneath so that it adds layers to that embellishment cluster. So going to add this one up on Fun Foam just so that it stands out from the photo, and that way it stands out. I end up actually using some of the gold thickers that we got in the kit to make it another title as well, so it's sort of like double titled, or you know, a title and a subtitle, however you want to look at it if you want to analyze that kind of thing. So I've just ripped down this and going to use the notebook part of that embellishment. The other part I'm sure I'll be able to use in another way, and I'm going to add these leaves and the flower around here just as a pop of something interesting and just nice because it's puffy stickers, but also the colors and the tones. And then I add this banner and this word sticker up the top here. So that's basically all I'm going to do in terms of embellishments. There's so much going on in the mixed media background, not like overwhelmingly going on, but just if once you look and you look more, spend a bit longer, you see all these things happening. So I'm going to use foam tape to put up my photo. I was too lazy to get the Fun Foam out. Instead I'm going to use a whole pile of tape apparently, and then I'm going to use some glue because it is mixed media that we're sticking onto, so I need to make sure that that is stuck properly. So you can see how well it just comes together so nicely. The colors, it's just one color, the green, but the tones of that greeny blue, aqua, whatnot, just have come together so well. And it's just nice to be able to see all these, the fabric and the color and the texture and the beads and everything. So this is that blue flare. I'm trying to make it work. I do stick it down, but then I quickly pull it up because it, as much as it goes with the layout, the blue is just that wrong tone, so that part of it doesn't go with it. And here's where I think I'm pretty much finished, but I'm going to pull out those gold thickers that we got in the kit. I think they're from Sunny Days actually. And I'm going to spell out unique and put some journaling just underneath the photo there. So I wasn't 100% sure where I was going to put my title, so I do put it on some plastic just to make sure I've got it where I want it before I stick it down. And I'm just going to have it there as an extension of the photo cluster. So on goes the title, and then I just use a black pen that is in my stash, a really thin one. Actually, it's from Daisy-O, but any black pen will do. I just draw some lines and then just a couple of sentences of journaling, and that is going to be the end of the layout. So hopefully you've enjoyed it and it's inspired you to create something, especially these kind of mixed media layouts that look a bit tricky and technical but are quite easy, as you just seen. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.